SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Laban here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night, the opening night of the NCAA basketball tournament. One game already in the books today in the first round there in Dayton. Albany beating Mount St. Mary 71-64, 22 points, 9 rebounds for DJ Evans as the Great Danes advance into round 2, where they will meet number 1 overall seed Florida coming up on Thursday in Orlando. So one game already in the books in the NCAA tournament, another one about to begin. North Carolina State and Xavier all ready to tip off there in Dayton as well. Over in the NIT, Belmont tipping off the NIT tonight, and I'm trying to pull up that score as we speak. Well, anyway, Belmont was winning by 10 just moments ago before I came down here. About 3 minutes left in the first half. Bruins off to a very, very good start, and that was something Rick Byrd was worried about. After this team had been in the NCAA tournament each of the past 3 seasons, he wondered if they'd be ready to play on the road, what kind of mindset they would have. And they were able to come out and look like a team that wanted to be there early on tonight, which I'm not sure you could say for Green Bay. The Phoenix were definitely one of those teams that felt like they had a shot to get into the NCAA tournament and were left on the outside looking in. So Belmont off to a good start with a lead late in the first half in its opening round NIT game. And one other thing to point out about the NIT tonight is the top seed in Belmont's bracket is St. John's. They just lost at home to Robert Morris, the team that beat Kentucky last year in the opening round of the NIT. Well, old Bob Morris just did again tonight, going on the road this time to beat St. John's. So the top seed in that bracket is out and done for the season. And that means if Belmont wins tonight at Green Bay, they will host Robert Morris sometime next week in an NIT game and then be just 2 wins away from going to Madison Square Garden for the NIT Final Four. So quite a cool scenario here for Belmont, shaping up where they could make a run. If they can win this game tonight at Green Bay, you would make them certainly a favor against Robert Morris at home, and then you'd have one game from that point on to try to get to the Final Four, which would be really cool for a Belmont program that has just one postseason win ever as a Division I team, and that was in the CIT a couple years ago. So a chance to get perhaps multiple wins in the NIT, I think would be good for the Belmont program. Also, cool way for seniors like J.J. Mann and Blake Jenkins, who have had such amazing careers, but denied this year the chance to go to a 4th straight NCAA tournament. What a way for them to kind of rewrite the script and go out on a positive note with a strong run in the NIT. Also tonight, we will talk about the NCAA brackets, both the men's and women's bracket. We can go through some of those things. Love to get your take on those. We can fill out some things. We can talk about upset picks, all those sort of things as we move along tonight. 737-7767 is the number. And let's go to the phones right now and start tonight off with Jay. Jay, thanks for calling in. You're first up tonight on SportsLine.
Hey, Steve. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thanks for the call.
Good. I'm excited about March Madness, bud.
Me too.
I was just wondering what you thought about Kentucky knocking off Wichita State. I think that's what's going to happen. I believe Kentucky's getting stronger. And also, I was watching a special the other night about coaches in the NCAA this year, blowing their tops on the sidelines and getting ejected and so forth. Do you think it's getting worse with coaches, or do you think it's about the same? And I'll hang up.
Thanks, Jay. We appreciate the call. I was going to ask if they got that idea from me to do that special, because I've been harping on that for a while. As a matter of fact, Rick Byrd, who's a good friend of mine, and he is the head of the NCAA Tournament Rules Committee, or the NCAA Men's Basketball Rules Committee. And I talked to him about that several times this year, that I think bench decorum in college basketball is as bad as you will see anywhere. Because if you look at these coaches, they are just constantly jawing at officials. The language they use is obvious and apparent and oftentimes not just rude but vulgar on the sidelines. And you have these confrontations with officials. And I think it becomes a back and forth. I think the officials are somewhat culpable in this too. But you don't see that when you watch NBA games. The bench decorum is at a much more professional level in the NBA than it is in college basketball. And these are the guys who are supposed to be teachers. These are the guys who are supposed to be molding young men, 18 to 22-year-olds, to become men, not just good college basketball players. And they can't control themselves on the sideline. And it's some of the best guys in the game. If you talk to people in college basketball, one of the most intimidating presences on the sideline is Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. And when he wants to, some of the things he says can really get to you. How about Jim Boeheim at Duke this year? Talk about a legendary coach in college basketball. He went crazy at the end of that game. And maybe he had a point, maybe it wasn't a good call, but you've got to control yourself. In that specific instance, Syracuse was down by 2 points. He thought a bang-bang play went against his team, and it was a bad call. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But you're down by 2 points in the final seconds of the game. You could get a steal on the inbounds. You could foul them, and they could miss their free throws. 2 points. You are absolutely within the game to come down and not just tie it, but win it at the end of the game, if you keep your composure. But Boeheim goes nuts, gets multiple technical fouls, Duke hits free throws, game salted away, and his players have no shots. And so, to answer the question, Jay, I think there's got to be something done, because I think as you go through it, you see coaches throwing their hands up, they're throwing their jackets on the sideline. It's obvious that they're swearing at officials at times, and I just think that it's got to get under control for the game of basketball, because it's frankly a little bit hard to watch. And I love the pick about Kentucky, too. I think they are playing better basketball down the stretch here. I think they pose a threat to what Wichita State's weakness is, and that is being physical and lengthy inside. Obviously, you've got a guy like Julius Randle, even a guy like Willie Cauley-Stein. Wichita State can't match up in the front court against those guys. The Shockers have one of the best backcourts you'll find anywhere in Ron Baker and Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year Fred VanVleet. Clay Anthony Early's a stud. They've got some guys who can play on that team, but they're not blessed with a ton of size. And I think the physicality of Kentucky could be a big problem. Now, I do think there are a lot of people out there who are underestimating the Shockers and saying they didn't play anybody this year. Well, don't forget, this is pretty much the same team that played a bunch of teams to get to the Final Four last year and had Louisville on the ropes in the second half of the national semifinals. They're just older and probably better this year. So this is a team that is plenty capable to make another run like that, but this tournament is all about matchups. And as you look at Wichita State's draw, Kentucky's a tough matchup in round 2 if they get it. Louisville would be a brutal matchup in the Sweet 16 if they get it. And if they somehow get past those two, you're in all likelihood facing Michigan or Duke in the Elite Eight for the chance to get back to the Final Four. This tournament is all about matchups. Now, one interesting thing about Kentucky is Kansas State, I think, will pose some problems for the Wildcats in their own right. I think Kentucky's going to win this game. But in a lot of ways, K-State plays defense as well as anybody that Kentucky's probably seen this year. That's a team that can be physical in their own right. They rebound the ball fairly well, and they're going to muck this game up. They're going to make it ugly, and they're going to defend and make Kentucky work every possession on both ends of the floor. And Bruce Weber's had success in the tournament before. Again, I think Kentucky's going to win, but for those fans out there who are just assuming Kentucky wins and is going to get Wichita State in the second round, don't look past Kansas State. This is a team that beat Kansas this year. This is a team that has several quality wins in the Big 12 Conference, which was the best in college basketball this year, in my opinion. They're going to be ready to play against Kentucky on Friday night. Love to get your thoughts on the NCAA tournament, men's or women's. We can go through the bracket, pick some upsets for you tonight. We can talk about Final Four. Frankly, I'd love to get your picks. If you have your bracket already filled out, who do you have making it to North Texas for the Final Four? Who are maybe some of your upset picks in the early rounds of the tournament? Is there a Cinderella you think who could get to the Sweet 16? I'd love to hear from you tonight. 737-7767 is the number. Our phone bank is wide open right now, so you can get in and be a part of the program right after this break. Stay with us. You're watching SportsLine on News Channel 5+.